Welcome to the third lecture on paleobotany series of lectures. Today I'm going to talk about different types of fossils based on their sizes, nature and distribution. This is different from the type of fossils that we talked about in the last lecture. That was on the basis of the mode of preservation. Here there are various ways of naming fossils. So this is not a classification. This is a randomly scientists have named different types of fossils in different ways, like body fossil, microfossil, megafossil, living fossils, all these things. So we will talk about all these terminologies in this lecture. The first one is the body fossils. Body fossils are those which are the whole organism. When it gets preserved, these are called body fossils. This occurs because the cell walls of such organisms is very, very hard. It comprises of calcium carbonate deposition or maybe silica, like the walls of the epitheca and hypotheca of diatoms. So such kind of organisms, they get deposited in the river or the marine or the lake basin and become fossilized. These are called body fossils. The diuripartic fossils are one type of body fossils, that means. And then the chemical fossils. Chemical fossils are basically, as the name suggests, they are chemical substances of biological origin. The macromolecules like the DNA, RNA, protein, carbohydrate, etc. So the DNA is very fragile. It will degrade after the death of the organism. Usually it is not preserved, but sometimes it may also be preserved if the organism is in a cryo condition. If it is preserved at sub-zero temperature, fossilization is occurring at that temperature, or if the organism is embedded within the amber, then there is a little chance that you might get some amount of fragmented DNA from there. That is a chemical fossil. The proteins are usually found. For example, in case of human, the hominids, they have, in 2019, in China, a human teeth was discovered that contained a protein, collagen protein. When scientists sequenced the collagen protein, they could correlate it with the other collagen sequences to get a homologous the evolutionary lineage from there. So these kind of fossils, the proteins, the paleoproteins, these are called chemical fossils. Now, micro and megafossils. So the name suggests microfossils are microscopic in size. The pollen grains and spores are considered to be microfossils. Megafossils are larger. They can be viewed with the naked eye, such as the Glossopteris impression or compression of ginkgo that we observed in the last video, maybe the vertebraria or the stump of stigmaria. These kind of fossils, which are larger in size, are called megafossils. Now, talking about index fossils or guide fossils. Index or guide fossils guide us about a particular stratum. They indicate the age of the stratum in which they are found. So basically the two criteria are very important for index fossil or guide fossil. One is this, that these fossils are found in geologically narrow region. In a very narrow bed of geological profile they will be found. So their distribution is geologically narrow but geographically very wide. The next one is the subfossils. Subfossils are the partially fossilized, the specimens which have started fossilization but yet not completed fossilization, and they are within the 6,000 years, that the mark that has been given as the prehistoric. The relics of the past beyond prehistoric period are called fossils, and within prehistoric period is called subfossil. Like the mammoths are one example of subfossil. The Tylitis is another example of subfossil. Now, next one is the paper coal. Paper coal is one term that is used for a thin film of carbonaceous fossil that is formed because of the epidermis and cuticle that is left behind during fossilization. The softer tissue disintegrates and the epidermal tissue and the cuticle remains, forming a thin film of carbon. This particular structure is called paper coal. Sometimes it is wider because many layers of such epidermis and cuticle might get deposited, forming about a meter width paper coal. The best example of paper coal is the lycopods of lower Carboniferous strata of Russia that contains the paper coal. The next one is the pseudofossils. Pseudofossils, as the name suggests, are not true fossils. They are basically artifacts of clay crystallization or something like that, that you think that those are some types of structures. The best example is the Zea antiqua. This name was given to a structure which was similar to the ear of Zea, maize, Zea maize. So later on it was found that this is basically a crystallization of a clay. So clay minerals have crystallized to give a shape of that kind. So because of the geological or chemical reactions, geological phenomena or chemical reactions, this kind of things happen in the nature. So these are called pseudofossils. The last one is the living fossils. The living fossils are those which are the organisms that are existent today, and they're surviving since ages. Millions of years ago they originated and they're still surviving. So we get their fossils also, some part of their fossils also, and we also get the organism existent in our lifetime. For example, the Ginkgo biloba tree, the gymnospermous tree Ginkgo biloba, the only member of the family Ginkgoaceae, and the only species of the genus Ginkgo is the biloba. So this is a monotypic genera, monotypic family. This particular plant is living since ages. It originated sometime during Permian, maybe Carboniferous or Permian, about 20 to 25 crore years ago, and since then it is still living. So this plant is an example of, best example of living fossil. Another is the cycas is also considered to be a living fossil because many species of cycas originated during Carboniferous and Permian period, little before the Ginkgo biloba, and they're still surviving. This kind of plants, the fossil of which, we also get the fossil of that particular organism and living also, these kind of plants are called living fossils. Animals also, there could be animal examples also. We are talking here about the paleobotany, that's why I'm restricting myself to plant example. So this was all about today's video, and this will be going to help you in your exams, in your entrance exams, in your final exams at undergraduate or postgraduate level, maybe in your different competitive exam also. So definitely give a thumbs up and also share the video to your friends and ask them to subscribe the channel for more such videos. And also don't forget to press the bell icon for notification. Thank you very much.